Hi, this is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. Well, I've been trying to experiment for the last couple of months, and I want to give you the results of it, not why I'm kind of liking this fermented foods thing. And this is not something that you see a lot in the carnivore community, but I think it's making a difference. But it is one of those gray areas. I mean, how do you know that something works? Well, the way I try to do it is, first of all, does it make mechanistic sense? And when I say mechanistic sense, it basically is it just common sense? Does it kind of make sense based on what you hear? I mean, if somebody tells you that the secret to success and how to improve your health is to snap your fingers 3 times every morning, you know that's bull. I mean, it's just nonsense. It's not gonna, because there's no mechanism that is going to improve your health by just snapping your fingers a few times every morning. But, you know, with a lot of things, when you start to talk about things like your gut microbiome, okay, this is a gray area. There's no hard science on it, but we do know enough about the gut microbiome to realize it's important. It is 2 to 5 pounds of important bacteria that we all, and trillions of bacteria that we carry around with us that have a tremendous impact on our overall health. It seems to play an important role in our immune health and our mood. There have been experiments where they've done fecal transplants from people that have been horribly depressed, and people have gotten over it. It seems to make a difference. The problem is it's not ready for prime time because there's trillions of these cells, and trying to map it out is frankly more difficult than trying to figure out the DNA. It is a very difficult long-term process. It's not ready for prime time. We can't say that, boy, if we increase this, we're going to get this result. But we know microbiome diversity seems to improve overall health. We're just not quite sure how to do it. But what about adding in fermented foods? Because those are a lot of, included in a fermented food, what you're doing is you're destroying a lot of the sugars and the carbs because that's what the bacteria eat on. And we've been doing it for a long period of time. It has been recognized since the time of the Greeks that sauerkraut has positive health effects. People have been eating it for a long time and enjoying good health. So, and there's been no downside. People are not dying because they're eating it. And we're now starting to realize that it helps, fermented foods, particularly yogurts, kimchis, and sauerkrauts and stuff like that, seem to improve the health and diversity of the gut microbiome. Now, will that cure cancer? No. Will it make you, healthy if you are eating a standard American diet? No. But if you're generally healthy, you're eating a low-carb diet, you're not eating ultra-processed foods, you're getting sleep and exercise, may this stuff kick you up to another level? Possibly. I mean, there are people, so this is the first thing, have you heard about it? Are there people that doing it? And yes, there are a bunch of people that do it. They swear by it. They think it's made some improvements in their overall health, but frankly, there's no biomarkers for it. I mean, when you go low carb, there's certain biomarkers that you can follow. Number one, how you feel. Number two, what's your weight like on the scale? What's your A1C, blood tests, triglyceride levels. Is your waist circumference going down? Is your HDL cholesterol going up? Is your fasting insulin going down? I mean, those are all good biomarkers that you can look at that can show you if something is working. But when you're trying to improve your overall gut microbiome health, frankly, you can't test that. I mean, except possibly, do you feel better? Does it seem to make a positive difference? And there are people that say that it does. But, they're influencers on YouTube. Maybe it'll work for you, maybe it won't. So I tried it. Tried it mainly because there's a guy by the name of Dr. Sean O'Mara who is low carb. I like his stuff. he puts out some very interesting ideas. He's the one who got me to start adding in sprint training to my overall workout regimes, because he showed me that, hey, there are serious studies on this one that show it improves mitochondrial health. And when I did it, I noticed real significant changes in body composition, strength, etc. I don't like to do it, but man, it works. So I've liked this stuff. He has been pushing for trying to incorporate more fermented foods, particularly sauerkraut, kimchi, and yogurts, into a carnivore, low-carb diet plan. Okay, so I've been looking at it, been thinking about it, checking out other people that have tried it. They all seem to like it. Nobody has died. Okay, let's give it a shot. So I learned how to make my own sauerkraut. So that was one of the things. And sauerkraut is cheap, easy to make. You don't want to buy it off the shelf, though, because most of those are pasteurized, and that kills most of the bacteria. But when you make your own, you basically just grabbing a head of cabbage, cutting it up, throwing some salt on it, putting it into a big jar for a couple of weeks, and you got fermented cabbage, which is now sauerkraut. And I've been throwing it in a cup with dinner at night, and I happen to like my sauerkraut. So that's delicious to me, and it helps improve the overall gut microbiome, because frankly, when you try, one of the ways people try to do it is they buy expensive probiotics, which may or may not work, because stomach acid kills a lot of that stuff before it gets to the gut microbiome. But when you're eating high probiotic foods such as sauerkraut or homemade yogurt, you're tossing in so much that it overwhelms the stomach acid, and enough of it gets through into your intestines and gets into the GI tract, starts to repopulate your gut microbiome with brand new healthy bacteria. Hopefully, that's the goal. Then the next question was, okay, I want to throw in yogurt, and I started looking at the yogurts that you could get at the supermarkets, and frankly, I wasn't really impressed. Very few of them are fermented long enough to create enough healthy bacteria to make them worth your while, and they're really not worth the expense. So I started looking at how do you make your own yogurt. Then I ran across Dr. William Davis, who was really talking about this probiotic that is interesting called L-reuteri. And L-reuteri used to be, there's some poor schmuck whose job it has been for years to examine poo over time to figure out what parts of the gut microbiome has been lost. And back in the 60s, L-reuteri used to be in most people's gut microbiome, but it has disappeared. It's only in about 4% of people in the United States now. And they've tried to speculate as to where it went, and it looks like stronger antibiotics and maybe your ultra-processed foods have wiped it out. So people don't have as much of it. That may or may not be a good or bad thing, except there's a study at MIT where they started looking at rats, and they gave them L-reuteri, and they noticed some positive health effects. For instance, it's tough to quantify this, but their fur definitely improved. Their fur quality improved. The testosterone level went up. Male rats, suddenly older male rats who were not frisky in the control group, the male rats that were getting the L-reuteri were definitely very frisky and were mating like crazy, which may or may not be a good thing depending on who you are, but that definitely, basically the rats got more youthful. Now, rat studies are not people, but they are certainly interesting. So it was worth testing. So I started looking around. Have other people been using it? And yes, other people have, and they've noticed some things like wrinkles seem to be getting less noticeable. Skin quality goes up. They've noticed that any cuts and scrapes and stuff like that seem to heal much quicker. Now, these are all anecdotal stories. But when you see a bunch of them, they again become interesting, and they become things that you may want to test out on yourself, which is the final way of figuring out if something's going to work, which is, okay, we've now got, okay, is there any science? There's mechanistic stuff. You know, what do other people say about it? Now we begin the test on me. So for the last couple of months, I've been making my own yogurt, which is relatively simple to do. It just basically, you know, you buy the L-Reuteri tablets one time. You mix those in with your initial yogurt starter, pour in about a quart of half and half, put it in an Instapot at 100 degrees for 36 hours, and voila, you have kind of a very nice Greek yogurt type consistency. And I think it tastes okay by itself, but if you don't like plain yogurt with that little bit of tang in there, you can just toss in a little bit of keto chow or some sort of 0-calorie flavoring on it, and you've got a flavored yogurt, and you'd eat about a half a cup of that every day. That's, you know, any more than that seems to be a problem, but half a cup seems to be about the right dose. And I checked with the CGM, continuous glucose monitor. It does, you know, the yogurt and the sauerkraut do not spike my blood sugar. So, you know, the bacteria did their job. They ate all the sugars and the stuff. So, no downsides to it. Now the question is, does it make a difference? And, you know, okay, we're talking about a very low cost thing. We're talking about, you know, when you make your own yogurt and you make your own sauerkraut, we're talking about 15 bucks or so a month to make that stuff and to add it into my diet. So it's a very low cost thing to add in. Now, here's what's happened. And the biggest thing has been kind of a change in attitude. I don't mind people. I like people, but my significant other has noticed that I am definitely much more social. There's less social anxiety. I am calmer. I enjoy interacting with strangers. I have been having a good time with it. She noticed that I am engaging in deeper conversations with her. And strangely enough, we were out the other week and there was a dance floor, and I'm usually the person that has to get dragged out on the dance floor, and I, for some reason, just enjoyed going out there, and I was taking her out to the dance floor without any prompting, you know, and saying, hey, let's go out there and dance, let's try this thing out, and which isn't typical for me. This is a change, and these are what I would consider positive changes in how I'm interacting with other people and with her, and she likes it and I like it. So, and she also said, you know, what are you doing different around your eyes? She said that my eyes are less puffy, and she noticed that a lot of the wrinkles are going away. You know, am I noticeably stronger? I don't think so, but you know, I'm still working out. There's been no drop in how much I've been working out. So overall, I'm going to say, yeah, I kind of like this stuff after 2 months. Now, let me give this caveat. If you are not eating a low-carb diet, if you're not generally healthy, if you're not exercising at all, and you're getting horrible sleep, this is not going to change your life. This is something that you add in when you've got your overall health going good. And maybe it makes a 5% difference in your life as far as improvement in overall life satisfaction and quality. Is that worth 15 bucks a month? Well, to me, yeah. I mean, I'm seeing some improvement in my enjoyment of life. I feel more calm. I'm enjoying people. I'm having more fun. That's a reason to do something, especially when it doesn't cost much. Now, there's no big L-Reuteri lobby out there. You cannot purchase L-Reuteri yogurt. The supplements that you get, you know, the little tablets that you use for the starter of this stuff, you can't take the tablets and get the same effect. You're going to have to take a little bit of time and learn how to, you know, and there's lots of good YouTube videos. I'll include a link to one on how to make your own L-Reuteri yogurt. It's easy. And, you know, you just basically mix the ingredients together, put it in the Instapot in some mason jars, and 36 hours later, you've got L-Reuteri yogurt. and it tastes good and you can try it out, and give it a month or two and see if it makes a difference for you. But these are the type of experiments that if you want to figure out how to improve your health a little bit more, you're going to have to do on your own, because there's no big El Reuteri out there. The government's not going to tell you about it. The media is really not going to tell you that much about it. So you have to learn it on your own. But some of the stuff is worth doing. I mean, if it's a cheap thing that can help improve your life a little bit more, why not do it? This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. I try to put out a couple messages each week. I will talk to you again soon, but please hit the like and subscribe. Join this channel, join other people that are trying to improve their health and their life. I will talk to you again soon.